Hey everyone, welcome back to Psyched About Life, where we talk about psychology, life, growth, and personal development. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this video on behaviorism and how to apply it to your life. Believe it or not, behaviorism can consist of so many beneficial techniques, useful tips, and tricks to really get you in the groove of a better, healthier life and overall greater well-being, and get you on the track of a successful life and a happy life. So let's start off with, what is behaviorism? Behaviorism is honestly conditioning our reactions and actions to the environment around us. And we learn these behaviors through this conditioning, and we're going to get into the psychologists and the theorists, but really we're going to bring it all back together to conditioning in our environment. Regardless of genetic background, personality traits, internal thoughts, people can be shaped by their environments, both internally and externally. It only requires the right conditioning. So really quickly, I'm just going to do a little bit of background, why I'm even talking about this. We had a comment in one of our videos from one of my colleagues. He went to school with me, and we'll call him Anonymous. He was asking the question of, what is behaviorism? And now I know, Maria, that you've had experience as a behavior therapist. What do you have to suggest about behaviorism, and also how can we apply it to our day-to-day life? Because there's got to be some significance to it, right? And I was like, of course there's some significance. I was a behavior therapist from 2020 to 2023, right? Three-ish years. And I learned a lot in my experience. I did a lot of in-home as well as in a residence. We worked on speech, we worked on social skills, we worked on communication, we talked about daily hygiene and living skills, and we really honestly talked about just having a better functioning in life and our surroundings and with each other, right? Because we're social beings, so teaching social skills is very necessary and important. Also, my school psychology background, going to grad school, learning all these courses, but also really diving into the real life experience of, at my internship, working with students, teaching social skills, teaching executive functioning, all under the umbrella of behaviorism and success with our behaviors and learning environment. So me picking up the bottle to drink it is a behavior. Closing the cap on the bottle is a behavior. So we do behaviors, whether it's simple or forming relationships as complex as that. Those are all behaviors, right? So behaviorism itself is a term coined by scientists and psychologists. It all started with John B. Watson, as the behaviorist views it. That was his paper, and that's kind of where it started in 1913. But before we get not even before, we're not even going to get into the history of behaviorism, because I feel like that gets a little boring, but we're really going to keep it very simple, this video. It's just going to be straight behaviorism, how to apply it to your day-to-day. And one thing we're going to look at today is classical conditioning, because I feel like it's a really fun topic to learn about and try to make it fun. Classical conditioning is a technique frequently used in behavioral training, in which a neutral stimulus is paired with a naturally occurring stimulus. Eventually, that natural stimulus comes to evoke the same response as the naturally occurring stimulus, pairing these two together so that becomes a learned response. So when the dog hears the bell and gets food, he eventually learns to just hear the bell, and he already knows that there's going to be food. And so you kind of teach these behaviors and you tie the two together. And I could be a little shaky with that explanation, but we're going to keep it very simple. You're learning that behavior and it's conditioning that response to that stimulus. Now, what does this mean in our day-to-day lives? Well, behaviorism is awesome for making new habits stick, right? And bringing that into a better routine for yourself, a better schedule, rewarding yourself. Behaviorism also has to do with rewards and consequences. Those are all within the same umbrella as behaviorism. Also within behaviorism is punishment and reward. So we want to stray away from punishing ourselves and just promote the positive behavior. So that's really key. Promoting our positive behavior, we could give ourselves a break, a couple minutes, an hour. We can give ourselves a little treat at the end of the week if we're doing the desired behavior of, let's say an example could be, I studied at least an hour each day. I focused on a task an hour each day. You set up a goal for yourself and then you reward yourself. It could be small rewards daily, or it can be a huge reward at the end of the week. And the reason why I say punishment really isn't effective, studies show that punishment really does not increase desired behavior. It could actually promote that bad behavior, and it might stop it, but for a temporary amount of time. So really it's not that effective overall. So you really don't want to be punitive with your consequences. You can learn from your mistakes, but really promote that positive behavior and positive outlook. Remember, positive is always better than negative. We see behaviorism in treating PTSD and other phobias through exposure therapy. We're applying that stimuli, like I said, with conditioning. We pair it so that the person eventually learns to apply that not so scary stimuli or thing with that scary thing that they thought was scaring them. And eventually they're exposing themselves to it, and that's just one example. Then we talk about ABA. And like I said, I was a behavior therapist for three and a half years with various companies, with various children, and I learned a lot. And ABA, which we can make a whole other video on ABA, there's so much to it. Applied behavior analysis is really useful for helping children learn, like I said, how to function better. I mean, quote unquote, function better, more so their day-to-day lives. It's very focused on the individual, and it's focused on the individual's needs and a desired outcome. And so when you do goals, when you work with the child and do ABA, you're really focusing on that desired outcome. So you set up goals, whether it's the parents that want these goals or the child or a team of people through the school or an outside organization, and you come up with all these goals, and then you work little by little by applying them to whatever daily routine they have, whether it's after school hours in the home, and you're working on these goals and you want to successfully have those positive desired behaviors, but you also want to minimize and eliminate those undesired behaviors, which are also observable, so we can see them. And that's kind of how we define those observable behaviors. That's what we look at. So, for example, I would take a lot of data on what kind of behaviors the kid was exhibiting. For example, the kid was doing a lot of pinching, negative behaviors, pinching, eloping, getting out of his seat, walking around, trying to escape the work area or his bedroom, wherever we were. The student was throwing stuff, sliding stuff across the table or desk area. Whatever the behaviors are, maybe they're trying to hurt themselves, or SIB, self-inflicted behavior. Now, there's a lot of things that you can look at, but it's really defined by the need, so what the student or child is exhibiting, and we want to diminish that by implementing strategies and person-focused, person-based techniques and tools that we can really use to eliminate the undesired and increase the desired, like focusing longer, tolerating change, tolerating work to do, doing more homework each and every week, so there's a goal at the end of each week or month or whatever the case may be. And then you see what's working and what's not. So that's really ABA in a nutshell. I know I'm missing a couple of things, but that's just basic explanation of ABA, and I love doing what I did. Of course, there's a lot more to it than taking data. The kid's not a robot. The kid has a personality and has likes and dislikes, and you really have to cater it to that child, their personality, and what works best for them, and it's different for every kid. And a lot of what I did in ABA, I see myself do in real life. Like I said, the rewards, and sometimes I do punish myself by doing negative self-talk. That is an example of a punishment, right? I'm putting all these negative false beliefs in my head, but it's not really working, it's working temporary. So that's just an example. It's like you want to do the positive versus the negative, and you see it in your day-to-day. And behaviorism is really good for therapy, especially kids with developmental disorders or disabilities. And we also see it with students with ADHD, because we're trying to praise the child's good behaviors and lose privileges, not really punitive punishment or timeout, because we don't do that. We do losing privileges or a reward system, and that works amazingly in schools, right? We have like the token system, token economy, or we have a reward like by the end of the week if you are in the green zone versus the red zone, which is bad, the green's good. Whatever the case is, a lot of teachers do different techniques and implement different accommodations and strategies in the classroom. And it's that positive versus negative consequence. And it works so well with students in the school, not just kids with the need for it, but kids all around for behavior management. It works for everyone, honestly. And that was behaviorism in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment any other video ideas that you may have. Believe me, I read all the comments. There's very few, but I really do appreciate your time and taking the time to check out my channel. Thank you so much, and bye. Have a great day.